You know what's strange? We live in a world where almost everyone claims to care deeply about their friends, their parents, their partner. Yet somehow everyone feels ignored. Everyone says, I'm always there for the people I love. But ask those same people's loved ones and they'll tell you a different story. Because there's a difference between being available and being present. You can sit in the same room with someone and still make them feel completely alone. You can reply with haha and yeah, frar and I get you. Without actually hearing a word they said, you can say, I miss you, while actively avoiding every chance to see them. And the crazy part, we don't even realize we're doing it. We think we're trying. We think that reacting to someone's Instagram story counts as checking in. We think that texting, which should hang soon, is effort. We think that scrolling through old photos of someone we haven't spoken to in months proves we still care. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you reached out without being reminded? When was the last time you gave someone your full attention without glancing at your phone every 30 seconds? When was the last time you listened? Not to answer, not to advise, but just to hear them. Because here's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. You're not as present as you think you are. You say, it's not that I don't care, I'm just busy. And maybe that's true. Maybe you are tired. Maybe life is heavy. But do you know who else is tired? Them. Your mother is tired, but she still makes time to ask if you've eaten. Your friends are tired, but they still remember your birthday without needing Facebook to remind them. Your partner is tired, but they still notice the little things about you that you stopped noticing about them. So what's your excuse again? We love to believe we're the victim of emotional neglect while casually neglecting the very people who cherish us. We don't see it as neglect because we assume they know we care. We assume they understand. We assume there will always be more time later, but that's the lie. You think you can get to it later? You think they know how I feel. Until one day they don't. One day you send a what's up and they don't reply. One day you ask to hang and they're suddenly busy. One day you realize someone else took your place, not out of betrayal, but out of patience finally running out. And in that moment, when the roles reverse, you will finally understand how painful it is to be someone's afterthought, because that's what hurt people the most. Not arguments, not betrayal, but quiet neglect. It's not always the big fights that break relationships. It's the slow fading away. The constant, I'll respond later. The we'll catch up soon. The we'll hang when things calm down, but things never calm down. Life stays loud. And before you realize it, the moment has passed. You don't lose people all at once. You lose them day by day, every time you choose distraction over presence. Here's the most ironic part. We always plan to appreciate people later, just not right now. We'll say, I'll call my dad tomorrow. I'll apologize when things are less awkward. I'll spend more time with them once I'm less stressed. But tomorrow is the most dangerous word in the human language, because it tricks you into believing you have unlimited chances. Have you ever scrolled through your phone and suddenly found the name of someone you haven't spoken to in years, and for a split second, you thought, I should text them? But then you hesitated. You said, it's been too long. It'll be weird now. So you didn't. You locked the phone. You moved on. And that moment was a funeral you didn't realize you attended. Not a physical one, a relational one. That relationship died quietly, not because of a fight, but because of silence. We think relationships end with explosions. Someone slams a door. Someone screams. Someone cheats. Someone storms out. But most relationships don't end that way. Most relationships end with nothing. No final words. No dramatic goodbye. Just less talking. Less effort, less reaching out, until one day you wake up and realize we don't even know each other anymore. And you know what's even scarier? Some of the people you love right now are slowly becoming strangers. Not because you stopped caring, but because you stopped showing it. There's a cruel regret that comes with that realization. It's when you suddenly start missing someone while they're still alive, but no longer accessible. You can see them on social media. You can scroll through old photos, but you can't just be with them like you used to, because familiarity turned into formality. Closeness turned into politeness, and that's when it finally sinks in. You should have loved them louder when you had the chance. Not with grand gestures, not with expensive gifts, but with presence, with attention, with undeniable proof that they mattered. Because presence is the purest currency of love. Not, I'm here, but I'm fully here, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be. Let me tell you something brutal, but honest. People don't remember what you said. They don't even always remember what you did, but they never forget how seen you made them feel. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be wise. You don't even need the right words. Most of the time, people don't want advice. They just want your ears. They just want your presence. They just want proof that they matter more than your notifications. One day, you'll look up from your phone and realize the room is empty. Not because everyone left you, but because you were never really there to begin with. We live in a strange contradiction. We've never been more connected, yet we've never felt more alone. You can send a message across the world in less than a second. You can FaceTime someone from a moving car. You can scroll through hundreds of smiling faces before breakfast. And yet, when it's quiet, when the lights are off and the phone is charging across the room, you feel it. That empty space between your ribs, that heaviness in your chest, that ache of Something's missing, but I don't know what. We blame that loneliness on circumstances. We say, people have changed. No one reaches out anymore. Everyone's fake now. But let's be honest, are we any different? How many times have you seen someone's name pop up on your screen and chosen to ignore it? Not because you were busy, not because you couldn't respond, but because you just didn't feel like it. How many times have you typed out a heartfelt message and then deleted it because you were afraid it would make things awkward? How many times have you said, let's catch up, knowing full well you had no intention of setting a date? Loneliness isn't always something that happens to us. Sometimes we manufacture it, not intentionally, not maliciously, but gradually, subtly, passively. We build walls, not because we hate people, but because we fear vulnerability. We keep things surface level because depth requires emotional risk. We choose comfort over connection. But here's the hidden cost of protecting yourself too much. You don't just avoid pain. You also avoid closeness. You numb loneliness with distractions. You drown silence with noise. You fill boredom with content, but none of it fills the void. And deep down, you know why. Because you weren't built just to be entertained. You were built to be understood. But you can't be understood if you never let anyone in. You can't be loved deeply if you only show people the filtered, controlled version of yourself. You can't crave authenticity while living behind emotional armor. Sometimes the loneliness you feel is simply the result of the distance you created. Not because people abandoned you, but because you slowly stopped letting people find you. You didn't shut the door all at once. You closed it inch by inch. Every time you said, I'm fine, when you weren't. Every time you said, maybe later, to someone who genuinely wanted your company. Every time you chose the comfort of isolation over the risk of being seen. And now that locked door feels permanent. But here's the good news, you can open it again. Not with some grand speech, not with dramatic gestures, but with one honest moment. A single, hey, I miss you. Can we talk? Sorry, I distanced myself. I want to be better. Loneliness doesn't disappear when people show up. It disappears when you do. Let's be brutally honest for a second, you do. You say you want deeper connections, but you've trained yourself to settle for shallow ones. You say you miss late night conversations, but when someone tries to open up, you reply with emojis. You say you want real friends, but when they invite you out, you say, I'll let you know, then disappear. You scroll through old memories, wishing for those simpler times, but refuse to do anything today that would recreate them. It's not just that people don't show up for you. You stopped showing up for life. You stopped calling first. You stopped asking real questions. You stopped giving people your full attention. You stopped saying, let's hang out right now, and replaced it with, we should hang out sometime. Do you see the difference? Sometime. This is where relationships go to die. You know what's wild? We keep telling ourselves it's not the right time, but connection has never been about perfect timing. It's been about willingness. Some of the best moments of your life didn't happen because things were convenient. They happened because someone decided to show up anyway. Think back, that random late drive with friends, it wasn't planned. Someone said, you free. And you said, screw it. Let's go. That conversation that changed your perspective. It wasn't scheduled. It happened because you stayed just a little longer instead of rushing off. That person who became one of the most important people in your life, you didn't overthink it. You let it happen. But somewhere along the way, you started overthinking everything. Now, every interaction feels calculated. Every invitation requires emotional energy you don't think you have. Every moment that could have been meaningful gets passed over in the name of, I'm tired. And yeah, maybe you are tired, but let's be real. Are you tired from living or tired from avoiding living? There's a difference between rest and escape. Rest recharges you. Escape drains you quietly. Scrolling isn't rest. Turning off your brain isn't peace. Pushing people away isn't protecting your energy. It's starving your soul. Because at the end of the day, the loneliness you feel isn't just about who's missing from your life. It's about who you stopped allowing yourself to be. You didn't just lose people. You lost yourself in the process. You lost the version of you who laughed without checking if it was embarrassing. The version of you who said, I love you, without worrying how it sounded. The version of you who would knock on someone's door just to say, come outside. That version of you isn't gone. They're just waiting for you to care again, to try again, to show up again. Because connection isn't complicated. It's simply presence. Repeat it. We love to say life is short, but the truth is life is long until it isn't. You think you'll have time to reconnect later. You think you'll apologize when the moment feels right. You think you'll sit down with your parents one day and ask them about their childhood. You think you'll take your partner out on a real date when things calm down. You think you'll text that old friend when you're less busy. But tell me this, when has life ever calmed down on its own? It won't. It never will. If you're waiting for the world to slow down before you start appreciating people, you'll wait forever. Because connection isn't something you schedule. It's something you choose. You don't need more time. You just need more presence. Presence is when you put your phone face down and your heart face forward. Presence is when you stop thinking about what to say next and start hearing what's being said now. Presence is when you stop scrolling through people's lives and start participating in them again. The presence requires courage. The courage to look someone in the eye and actually mean it when you say, how are you? The courage to send that, hey, I've been distant. I'm sorry. Can we talk? The courage to surprise your mother with a visit instead of sending a forwarded meme. The courage to show affection first, even if they joke about it. The courage to say, I love you, while you still can. Because one day, and I pray it comes gently, you will look back and realize the biggest regrets aren't things you did. They're things you never did when you had the chance. You won't regret the awkward hugs. You won't regret the long phone calls. You won't regret the random, just checking on you messages. You won't regret showing up even when you felt anxious. You won't regret loving people louder. You won't regret being the one who tried, but you will regret staying silent. You will regret ghosting people who would have stayed. You will regret leaving kind words unsaid. You will regret choosing distraction over connection. Love isn't proven in grand gestures. It's proven in repeated presence. Not I'm here when you need me, but I'm here even when you don't ask. So don't wait for birthdays. Don't wait for funerals. Don't wait for some dramatic life event to wake you up. Make the call. Send the message. Walk into the other room and hug someone who has no idea how much you appreciate them. It's not too late unless you decide it is. So I'll ask you again, when was the last time you truly looked at the people you love? Not just glanced at them, not just talked to them, but saw them, really saw them. Because one day you'll walk into a familiar room and someone who used to fill that space won't be there anymore. And in that moment, your mind won't replay the big events. It won't replay the vacations, the birthdays, the holidays. It will replay the ordinary moments you never realized were priceless while they were happening. A laugh, a glance, hey, I'm home. Don't forget to eat. And you'll whisper to yourself, I would give anything to live that moment one more time. You don't need one more time later. You have this time now. So be present. Be loud with your love. Be inconveniently grateful. Because one day you'll miss the people you're too busy to appreciate right now. And when that day comes, and may it not be because you never showed them how much they meant while you still could.